Hey, what's going on? So it is Sunday, the 5th of May. I think that we are at day 28. I am not certain. I will do updates on that. Excuse me. Later, back to work tomorrow. And just going to take a few moments here to, per se, catch you up on where we've been. This weekend, I really let my hair down. Proverbially. I think it's proverbially. My proverbial hair down. All right. I slid back into some things that I had set aside or put down. Both in drinking. Nothing outrageous. A wine or a glass of wine or a beer, but nonetheless, it was something that was not according to my diet that I, for 20 or 26 days, had steadily and progressively improved upon or gone without for at least 3 weeks. In this realization, I can certainly say, in this experimentation, this realization, I can certainly say that things become mundane. What I asserted was a type of necessary equilibrium, balance, grounding, and being creatures of habit, those habits become the greater hurdle in themselves because we like our creature comforts. Once we start doing things and become accustomed to it, we don't like change. It's inherent in us to not like change for whatever reason. And so no matter how long you go, there's still the yin and the yang, the feminine and masculine situation, positive and negative, etc., etc. That's still there. We, as human beings, can aspire to do things, whether better or I'll say whether positive or negative. We can aspire to do that, and we can do that. I should say we can act in ways that are either better or worse than we once acted. But the status, the condition that we had remains. With it, okay, so we can improve through a conscious change of mind. But I find that even in there still remains the personality type, the character that we always had. The best example I can think of at the moment is if I came from an abusive home, okay, and I watched, let's say, my father beat my mother. That demon, as it were, which is, I contend, merely a memory embedded in the mind of an experience of the trauma inflicted upon the mother and then upon my psyche. Okay? That memory is forever burned into my mind. Now, I may never participate in that type of behavior towards a female that I particularly choose to be with. But that has become a part of my existence through my mind. Let me demonstrate. Por ejemplo, or for example, those men, okay, or women that do copy after their abusive father or mother, the psychiatrist or psychologist will discover that there's a history from a particular parent and that you are acting out learned behavior. Why? Why are they able to make that discovery? Woo! A skunk is near. Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It must have just sprayed. How do I close? Oh my goodness. I haven't smelled a skunk in a long time. Jeez. I had to park right here. Okay. I digress. It is impression. It is burned into the mind, which comprises of, again, the spirit and the storage center for all memories and sensory experiences. That's what the soul is. It's the combination of the mind, which is the storage component for sensory experiences, and the spirit, which is the animus, that giveth life to a thing or a person. Okay? So it is a memory that is stored. Okay? And that memory becomes very much alive in our behavior, in our activities. Okay? And sometimes it's played over and over again in our psyche, in our mind. We dream about it. Therefore, it's embedded in our psyche. But whether or not you act out after the order of that abusive parent, it's still there. It's still a part of you. That's how powerful this thing is. It can manifest through you. It can manifest. So, again, I have to back up a little bit because I kind of had a brain fart that skunk threw me completely off, just being honest. Now, let me just say this. Does that mean that I have to perpetuate the cycle again next weekend or whatever? No, not necessarily. Again, it's a choice. It's a choice. You know, if you are particular to beer or wine or liquor, that's already built a synapse in your mind. That's already been embedded there. That's why in the AA groups, they remind you that, you know, there has to be a power outside of yourself. Okay? You cannot trust yourself. You can't depend on you. Very reminiscent of the teachings and doctrines of Christianity, where you're very weak. You can't do it on your own, but that's a whole nother discussion. But they teach that. Why are they teaching that? Because there is the realization that once you've experienced something, think of the Garden of Eden, once their eyes were open and they knew the difference between right and wrong, or they can make that judgment or whatever, now they can see clearly that they are naked. So basically, all of the experiences that you come across and deal with and receive and embed upon your mind desensitizes you. Okay, it basically makes you more vulnerable. It makes you more vulnerable in a sort of way, in after the order of the Adam and Eve story. Okay, because the more you know, the more you're going to realize how much you don't know. You're going to realize how naked you are by how much information, knowledge you obtain. Okay, and that goes to the realization that there really is no end to this life, this existence. It is a perpetual state of learning, observing, experiencing, wash, rinse, and repeat. That's what we are a part of. It's endless. There was no beginning, in my opinion. There was no beginning, and there is no end. In my opinion. Energy is never destroyed. It merely changes form. We are energy beings. We are energy beings. So, what have I learned? Which is the most important thing, right? What have I learned this weekend and other times at which I did not necessarily succeed in my goals and what have you? It's number one, I can determine the stopping point and the starting point of those behaviors. I have already proven to myself that I am capable of cutting things off at will, cold turkey. That has now been proven to this individual. I've learned that what they call temptation is really brought on by our own desires. Okay? Because the times like I had stepped out and I said, oops, I did it again. I had a beer and I didn't want to have a beer or whatever. Or I stayed out past my bedtime or whatever. Those times, I could have just decided not to go anywhere, not to get in the car and drive. I could have. But when I did that, putting trust in my ability to be around certain activities, when truth in being, I really wanted the experiences that I ended up partaking of. So really I did. I wanted it and I knew where to get it. So we're not going to play games with it. I knew what I wanted and I knew how to get it. And I went and did it. So I guess in that true statement and that realization, I would say that, if you want it, you're going to get it. If you want it, you're going to get it. It doesn't matter what promise you made or what have you. We are beings that have the power to materialize the immaterial. And remember, that is the point of this whole experiment. That in itself is proof. Because you can go above and beyond even what you set out not to do. You can instantaneously, in spite of a fast, in spite of consecration, you can instantaneously change your mind and make a whole evening happen filled with things that you know you did not really want to do. But it just doesn't seem to click together. All the friends come out of the woodworks. The drinks are plenty. People are buying you shots. You ever notice that? The times that you don't want to drink or you don't want to smoke is when the most of your friends will come around or provide that for you free of charge. Free of charge. But other times you're like, man, can I bum a cigarette? They're like, man, buy your own pack. You know, man, buy me a shot. Man, you buy me a shot. You see how it works? Why is that? Because it's what you really desired. And you set out for it. And you thought about it, didn't we? We meditate on it. We follow the 6 steps of manifestation. And we pretend like we don't, but we know we did. We manifested those things that we really knew we shouldn't have had. We manifested. They say that before your partner cheats, he or she was already gone. Before they even acted it out, they were already gone. Why? Because their mouth spoke as if they were still in the relationship. But as the scripture says, their heart, which is really the soul of man, okay, not the physical pitter-patter heart. The heart is the mind and the spirit, the animated man. That which brings life and the storage of the memories and the sensory experiences. That is the mind of the man, not the brain, the mind. Okay? We meditated on that. We observe what we want. We wonder about that. It's constantly here. We're just thinking it through. We're looking at it in our mind's eye. You know, so we observe it. We wonder about it and inquire about it. You know, then we envision it. It's in us. And then we dream it, having them fantasies and what have you. And then we transcribe it, you know, start writing love letters or texting and all that kind of stuff, putting it on paper. And then, lo and behold, step 6, oh my goodness, I just had another brain fart. What's the 6 steps? Y'all should know by now. After transcribing it, then, or did I? No, my bad. Step 5 is to become divinely persuaded. All right, that what you are in pursuit of, what you are meditating on, what you have observed and what have you is divinely, profitable to you, or will be profitable. Like, it's worth it. I'm going all in. You know how they be saying now, they were willing to risk it all? Right. Because they were divinely persuaded in themselves that I'm going for this because this is going to be the, you know what? That's what's happening. They're divinely persuaded. And my bad, that's step, dream it. Yeah, that's step 5. And then step 6 is finally write out the business plan, the transcription. Write out the strategy on how you're going to get it. Reduce it to writing. Put it on paper, as it said. I don't know, Patti LaBelle? Put it on paper. Right? Those are the 6 steps of manifestation. And in closing, that is what we are doing. Before that man or that woman ever left or ever cheated, they had done all the step 6. And that's why it materialized for, you know, it manifests. But they were already gone. They were already gone. So we know what we want. We know what we desire. I think when we get honest with ourselves and stop playing that we're something that we're not, or portraying that we're something that we're not. I think when we stop doing that, we'll start dealing with the real. And when we start dealing with the real and stop being enabled by people who make excuses for us, stop blaming the demons, the devil, or God, stop blaming God, right? Looking outside of ourselves, trying to blame somebody on the outside. When we start doing that, I think we'll actually get this thing. Because you won't have nobody to blame. So you'll just keep it real. You know, we say keep it real. We know what we want. Be honest, be truthful with yourself. Who are you putting on a show for? Who do we need to put it on a show for? You know, I knew that I wanted a beer. I knew that I wanted some wine. I knew that. Most of that stuff is premeditated. Most of it is. So I just want to throw a few things on your mind. We are back on. I am not giving up because, you know, I could be satisfied with the fact that my daughter's back in the state. I could say that was manifestation enough. It produced, you know, something that I never thought was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to see her again. So I could stop here legitimately and say, oh, I'm done. I done did it. But we're on day 27. We're not even at 30 days yet. I am going forward. Why? I'm going forward because I never like to do things haphazard. I never like to do things halfway. I like to put it in. I like to give my all. And I set out to prove that the true power, okay, life, death, etc., is internal. It's not external. It's not in an ethereal being that sits in the clouds and looks down upon us. I set out to prove that it is all within us. Now, lastly, I want to be in shape, mind, body, and soul. I want to become so in tune with my body and my mind and my soul that the three become one. I want to be able to demonstrate feats that are talked about for generations to come. I want what I am to become to override exponentially everything that I used to be. All the negativity, all the hurts I've caused other people. Now I want to help people. I want to become renowned for that, for those reasons. And in order to do that, I must conquer me. Let me say it this way. I must conquer the old man, as the Bible talks about. I must conquer that. So we are on our way. We are doing great things. Great things have already transpired, but I'm not satisfied yet. Okay? Think of Bruce Lee. If you don't know the story of Bruce Lee, some of his practices and things like that, that's what I want you, when you think of this journey and the journey of manifestation, spiritualism, mind, body, and soul, I want you to think of Bruce Lee, because that's where I'm going. I contend that he was able to, even though he died young, I think in 77, I think he died at 35 or something like that. For whatever reason. I'm not even going to speculate. But this being was a god in himself. I mean, really. You know, physically, mentally, spiritually. Okay? So when you think of what we're doing here, this experimentation, that's what we're doing. I want to be fit, mind, body, and soul. And I want to use this to encourage people and to strengthen people, both men and women, children, whomever. okay, that if I can do it, you can do it. So that's really what it's all about, okay? To become, not just in word, my better self or my best self, but in actions, deeds, beliefs, practices. All right? So I hope that you are hoping in this experiment. I hope that you are hoping the best. You can do it right along with me. There's no reason why we can't work this together. So hopefully you are pro what we're doing here, okay? I'll do my best to be honest about these things so that you can see things from all different angles and perspectives, and then you can disseminate and formulate your own beliefs. But I'm setting out to prove that the power is within us and not without. All right, so with that being said, it's been 25 minutes, nearly 26. Happy Day of the Sun to you, and we'll see you on the next upload probably tomorrow then. I believe it's day 27 today. It might be 28, but I'll definitely update if I'm wrong. Okay? Peace. Love you.